Hey, hi, and hello, everybody. I'm Meg, and this is M&M in real life. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys just about how I manage my daily pain and still getting tasks done, and kind of what works well for me. So first and foremost is my diet. So I'm allergic to gluten, wheat, corn, and rice. So I have a very limited diet. Obviously fruits, vegetables, meat, fish, uh, fruits. That's basically the summation of what I can eat. And potatoes. Um, so it does suck having all of these food allergies, but I feel a million times better knowing that I have them and not eating what I'm not supposed to eat. So I was not allergic to corn and rice. At least we didn't figure it out until I was actually living in Florida 4 or 5 years ago now. And I started having a really difficult time keeping food down. Literally everything I ate just made me extremely nauseous, and I could not keep anything in my stomach. And so I went through about 6 months of absolute misery, lost a lot of weight, and just it got to the point where I needed to move home. So I got a hold of my parents, and we got everything set up for me to come home. And as soon as we got up here, I went and got a blood test and found out about the food allergies. It was that simple. So ever since I've been making sure I don't eat what I'm not supposed to, I feel really well. So there's been a few instances where I've accidentally poisoned myself or been poisoned by others, but I'm down for a week or two at the most, and I bounce right back. But yeah, so diet has a lot to do with how your body feels. Regardless of what you're just allergic to, a lot of foods cause inflammation. So like dairy is extremely inflammatory. I actually saw a doctor a few months ago who, in addition to everything I was already doing, he wanted me to cut out dairy. Gosh, now I can't think of the rest of it. There were a few other things. Sugar was a big one. Sugar is very inflammatory. Between just us, I haven't done that great of a job of cutting out all the sugar, but I still feel great. So that's all that matters. But yeah, anybody, I'm pretty sure you can just go into your PCP. I would assume so anyways. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on this. But I would think you could just go in and tell them you want a food allergy test. There we go. And then that way you can figure out if you have any sensitivities, or if there's any foods you should be avoiding, because our food, we literally are what we eat. So it's important that we give our body what it wants. Next important thing for me and for everybody is rest. And when I say rest, I don't mean your normal just 8 hours of sleep every night. I mean, if you work a full 8-hour day and you get home and you're tired and you want to take a nap, you go take a nap. There's nothing wrong with that. I do that multiple times a week. And it's because I know it's what my body needs. Sometimes my body is just tired, some days more than others, and I know when my body, I try to listen to my body. That's the point I'm getting at, is listen to your body. It is trying to tell you something for a reason. And if it wants rest, you need to rest. It's important. So that is a huge thing. And I say that very, very, very importantly, because a lot of us, we don't want to tell people when we need to rest. So we're always wanting to go, 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 go. Even if we have plans, we don't want to cancel because we made those plans. But it's really important that you recognize when your body needs the rest, and just reschedule whatever you have, or do it at another time. You know, you should have people around you that would hopefully understand that. So just rest, lots and lots of rest, lots and lots of sleep. That goes in there with that. Make sure you get, I personally need probably 9 hours of sleep a night at least. I know the general rule is 8 hours, give or take. But everybody needs a little more, so everybody needs a little less. It just kind of depends on, you know what your body needs. Again, it comes down to what your body needs, and you can best judge that by how well you feel throughout the day, how you feel when you get up in the morning. Are you groggy in the morning? Do you need 6 cups of coffee in the morning just to wake up? So yeah, just again, lots of rest. So next thing I've got on my list is medications. So I tried a lot of medications. Majority of them were not controlled substances. But at one point in time, I was just on so many of them, I wasn't sure what they were even doing for me anymore. So I got off of everything, minus trazodone, which helps me sleep, and Cymbalta for my anxiety at a very low dose. But those are the only 2 meds that I stick to. The rest of them, my body, I didn't want to give my body a bunch of crap that it doesn't need. It's just a bunch of chemicals, and I kept the trazodone and I kept the Cymbalta because it helps to balance out the chemicals that my body may need, or my brain may need more specifically. But yeah, so everybody kind of has their own regimen of what works for them, what doesn't work for them. Some people rely on those medications, and that's okay. If you have to rely on those meds, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. If it gets you through your day-to-day and you feel like a normal human being and like you have some of a quality of life, that's okay. You just keep doing it, because anybody that judges you has no right to judge. They've never been in your shoes. So just keep doing what you're doing. Next thing I've got is stress and mood kind of go together. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but try to control your stress and mood as much as you can. Control only what you can. That's the biggest thing. Is I have a very hard time reminding myself of it, and have to do it quite often. I can only control certain things, and it's okay if I can't control everything, and it's okay if you can't control everything. So just accept what you can control and just let go of what you can't. I mean, that includes while you're driving. I mean, if somebody's being a complete jackass and going in your lane while you're driving, yes, honking at them is going to get your energy out. Yelling at them is going to get your energy out. And yes, I've done this many, many, many times, and I'm sure I will many, many times more, but it's not worth the energy. For us with chronic, goodness gracious, for us with chronic pain, the amount of energy we use is, for such small things, is crazy. Like just walking up a flight of stairs could feel like we just ran a marathon. We feel so depleted after such a little burst of energy. So you taking that energy and just getting angry and flustered and just giving back what the road rage person probably wants back, then all you're doing is expending energy that you can't expend. We have to save all of the energy that we have, because otherwise it's hard to get through a day, a week, a month. Unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle. If we have one or even just a few bad days, that turns into recovering for weeks, and then it turns into a bad month, and then it turns into multiple months, and it's just it's a constant wheel, and it's horrible. We've all been there. But next I try to focus on some stretching here and there. I don't stretch every day by any means. I probably should. I think we all should. But just kind of stretching what feels like it needs to be stretched. I mean, our legs and arms, I mean, our whole body, we use all of these muscles all day long, every day. So we have to give them a little bit of relaxation and try and pull some tension out of them a little bit. So try to stretch. And I also do some massaging myself. I got a little rubber ball from one of my doctors that I use for like acupressure type ideas. So yeah, I'll lay on that when I go to bed, and it makes a huge difference. And I do highly recommend actually going to a massage therapist once a month at a minimum, if you can afford it. I no longer can afford it, so no big deal if you cannot. But it did help me personally. It just helped everything kind of stay maintained and loose, but still where it needed to stay at the same time. So I really enjoyed massaging. I will probably get back into that at some point or another. Other thing is just exercising. I was extremely active a little over a year ago. I was actually kickboxing, believe it or not. And I loved it, enjoyed it, but I ended up with a shoulder injury that led to slipping rib syndrome, which we'll get into that later. But just exercising in general and building the muscle to keep everything where it's supposed to stay has made a huge difference for me. It's made me be able to sit longer, walk longer, stand longer, sleep better, because I don't have to worry about something slipping out of place while I'm sleeping. I mean, it overall improved my quality of life, we'll put it that way. I understand that exercising is extremely, extremely difficult for a lot of people, and I understand that I'm very well off as far as my conditions go. I'm very lucky to have more of a mild version of EDS and some other things. So if you are able to exercise and you are willing to push through a reasonable amount of pain, I promise it's worth it. I know, trust me, I know it hurts at first. It's painful because you haven't used those muscles and they're not used to being used for what they're supposed to be used for. But I highly recommend it, because you are literally doing what the tendons can't. You're strengthening those muscles to keep everything where it needs to stay. And if you do that exercising though, it is very important you make sure to do it right. You have to pay attention to muscle activation, which I'm still learning how to do that myself. I am not a top of the line, know-it-all exercise person in any way, shape, or form. But I do know there are proper ways to do it, and muscle activation is very important because we have to make sure we're using the correct muscles, basically. You have to make sure you're telling your body to use the correct muscles to do the movements or lift the weights that you may be using. And last but not least, is just talking to people about it. I mean, I will say I still keep a lot of stuff in, but having a boyfriend who's very open and a very good listener has been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And having a family who listens, I have a whole support system. I'm very, very lucky. And I'm very thankful for everybody that I have. I've got a great friend group, family, just everybody around me is just phenomenal. So any of you watching, thank you very much. But yeah, just talking is a huge part of it, and it's going to have a lot to do with your mental health, because if you keep everything in, your mental health is going to decline. And I say that from experience multiple times. I never learned the first time, who does, you know? But yeah, so just, even if it's just one person, or a diary, find a book or a video blog, even if nobody ever sees it, something for you to just get what you're feeling out, because those emotions are very important. And if you don't validate them, then they're just gonna continue to sit inside of you until it becomes a complete disaster, and it's all gonna spew out at once, and we all know that's never pretty. So just find somebody to talk to, or hell, I'll talk to anybody. I am more than happy to. I love making new friends, so bring it on. But I think I'm gonna let that be all for today. If anybody is watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will upload a new video next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.